Ma. 1. Vin Diesel's unexpected visit. One evening, Vin Diesel decides to visit his own restaurant unannounced. Despite being the owner, he rarely makes public appearances there, preferring to let the staff and management handle the day-to-day operations. However, tonight, curiosity gets the better of him. He wants to experience the place as any other guest. No fanfare, no special treatment. Just an ordinary customer enjoying a meal. Dressed in a casual hoodie, jeans, and a baseball cap, he steps out of his car and takes a deep breath before heading inside. He isn't here to make a scene or draw attention. He just wants to see if the restaurant truly embodies the warm, family-oriented atmosphere he envisioned when he first opened it. As he walks through the entrance, the aroma of grilled steaks and fresh-baked bread fills the air. The soft hum of conversation blends with the gentle clinking of silverware against plates. Everything seems to be running smoothly, until he hears something that makes him stop in his tracks. A low-key entrance. Vin Diesel steps inside, keeping his head down to avoid drawing attention. The dim lighting and the warm, rustic decor of the restaurant make it easy for him to blend in. He walks past the host stand, where a young employee greets guests with a bright smile. The place is bustling but not overwhelming, exactly the kind of welcoming, family-friendly environment he wanted when he opened it. He takes a seat in a quiet corner, observing the staff as they work. Servers weave between tables with practiced ease, balancing trays of food and drinks. The bartenders mix cocktails with smooth precision, chatting with patrons. Everything seems to be going well. But then, just as he reaches for the menu, something stops him. A faint, muffled sound, barely noticeable over the restaurant's usual noise, catches his attention. It's coming from the back, near the kitchen. A quiet, shaky sob. His instincts kick in. Something is wrong. Without hesitation, he rises from 3, an unsettling sound. As Vin Diesel moves toward the back of the restaurant, the sound becomes clearer. Soft, choked sobs, barely audible over the clatter of dishes and the murmur of conversations. He slows his steps, his sharp instincts honed from years in Hollywood and life experiences telling him that something isn't right. Near the kitchen entrance, he spots a young server with their back turned, shoulders trembling. They're trying to compose themselves, wiping their face quickly as if hoping no one will notice. Other staff members walk past, busy with their tasks, either unaware or choosing to give the person space. Vin hesitates for a moment. He isn't here as a celebrity or a boss, just a man who's witnessed his fair share of struggle. Instead of walking away, he makes a decision. He steps forward and clears his throat gently. "Hey," he says, his voice low but steady. "You okay?" The server stiffens at the unexpected voice behind them. Prying server. The server flinches slightly at the sound of Vin's voice but doesn't turn around right away. Instead, they hurriedly wipe their eyes and take a deep breath, as if trying to pull themselves together before facing whoever just spoke. "I'm fine," they mumble, their voice shaky but attempting to sound normal. Vin isn't convinced. He's seen this kind of struggle before, the way someone tries to act like everything is okay when, in reality, they're barely holding it together. He takes a careful step closer, making sure not to come off as intimidating. "Doesn't sound like it," he says gently. "You don't have to tell me, but maybe talking about it helps." The server finally turns around, their eyes still red from crying. They seem ready to dismiss him at first, just another concerned stranger, but then their gaze lands on his face. Their breath catches, their eyes widen. Recognition sets in. "You're." They start, voice trembling even more now, but for a different reason. Concern and curiosity. The server stares at Vin Diesel, their tear-streaked face frozen in shock. Their lips part slightly as if trying to say something, but no words come out. Vin offers a small, reassuring smile, hoping to ease the tension. "Yeah," he says casually, stuffing his hands into his hoodie pockets. "It's me." The server blinks rapidly, clearly overwhelmed, not just by recognizing him, but by the sheer improbability of this moment. A Hollywood star standing in front of them, catching them at their most vulnerable. I'm sorry," they stammer, quickly wiping at their face again, embarrassed. "I didn't mean to." Vin shakes his head. "You don't have to apologize for feeling something." His voice is calm, steady, the way a close friend might speak rather than a celebrity. "You okay? What's going on?" The server hesitates. They glance around as if making sure no one else is listening. Then, with a shaky breath, they finally whisper, "It's just been a really hard week." Vin nods, giving them space to story. The server hesitates, eyes darting downward as if unsure whether to continue. But something about Vin's quiet patience, the way he's just there, makes them feel safe enough to speak. It's just, life's been tough, they admit, voice barely above a whisper. I've been struggling to make ends meet. Rent went up, my car broke down last week, and they swallow hard, blinking back fresh tears. I just feel like I'm failing, like no matter how hard I work, it's never enough. Vin listens intently, nodding slightly. He's no stranger to struggle. He remembers the days before fame, hustling to pay the bills, feeling like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. He sees a version of his younger self in this person, someone just trying to push through. The server lets out a weak chuckle, shaking their head. And now I'm crying in the middle of my shift, in front of you of all people. Vin smiles gently. Hey, he says, his voice low but warm. You don't have to be embarrassed. We all hit rough patches, but trust me, this doesn't mean you're failing. The words hang in the air between them, heavy with meaning. The server exhales shakily, as if for the first time in a while, they feel seen. The server takes a shaky breath, trying to process everything. It was already overwhelming to be struggling through their shift, but now, standing face to face with Vin Diesel, it feels almost surreal. I can't believe this, they murmur, wiping their eyes again, this time in disbelief rather than just sadness. Vin chuckles lightly. Yeah, I get that a lot. His voice is warm, reassuring, like he's just another regular guy instead of a global movie star. The server shakes their head. No, I mean, of all people to see me like this, you walk in? They let out a weak, embarrassed laugh. This has to be some kind of weird movie moment. Vin tilts his head, amused but still focused on them. Maybe, he says, but I think it's more than that. The server looks up at him, confused. What do you mean? He leans in just slightly, voice steady. Sometimes, life puts people in the right place at the right time. The words linger between them, heavy with meaning. The server exhales slowly, as if absorbing the idea. Maybe, just maybe, this was one of those moments. Vin Diesel's response. Vin watches the server carefully, sensing the mix of emotions they're feeling. Relief, embarrassment, disbelief. He knows what it's like to struggle, to push through tough times without knowing if things will ever get better. He crosses his arms, leaning slightly against the wall. You work hard, right? He asks casually. The server nods. Yeah, I try. Vin tilts his head. Nah, you do. I can see it. He gestures toward the dining area. This place wouldn't run without people like you busting your ass every day. The server exhales, their shoulders slumping slightly. Maybe they've never really heard that before, at least not from someone who meant it. Vin gives them a small nod. Look, I've been there, struggling, wondering if all the effort is even worth it. But trust me, it is. The server bites their lip, trying to keep their emotions in check again. It just feels like, no matter what I do, it's never enough. Vin's expression softens. It's enough, he says firmly. You're enough. The words hit hard. The server swallows, blinking rapidly as if trying to absorb them. For the first time in a while, they feel like maybe, just maybe, they aren't alone in this. A life-changing gesture. Vin Diesel studies the server for a moment, then nods to himself as if making a decision. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out his wallet. Listen, he says, keeping his tone casual. I appreciate hard work, and I don't think good people should have to struggle alone. The server's eyes widen as Vin discreetly takes out a few crisp bills, far more than just a generous tip. But before they can protest, he shakes his head. This isn't charity, he assures them. Think of it as an investment. In you. The server stares at the money, their hands trembling slightly. I can't take this, they whisper, voice thick with emotion. Vin smirks. Sure you can. He gently presses the money into their palm. And one day, when you're in a position to help someone else, you'll know what to do. The server swallows hard, nodding as tears threaten to spill again, this time out of sheer gratitude. Vin claps them on the shoulder with a reassuring squeeze. You're going to be all right. 10. A powerful exit. Vin Diesel gives the server one last reassuring nod before stepping back. He doesn't wait for a big reaction, a thank you speech, or any fanfare. That's not why he did it. Instead, he simply adjusts his hoodie, glances around the restaurant, and heads toward the exit like any other customer. The server stands frozen, clutching the money in their hands, still processing what just happened. A mixture of shock, gratitude, and disbelief washes over them. As Vin reaches the door, a manager notices him and starts to approach, ready to offer VIP treatment. But with a small shake of his head, Vin signals that he's good, no need for special attention. He came in quietly, and he intends to leave the same way. Just before stepping outside, he glances back one last time. The server is still standing there, eyes glistening, looking at him with something beyond gratitude, something closer to hope. With a small, knowing smile, Vin nods and disappears into the night.